Halloween time. The time for leprechauns, banshees, pixies, and hobgoblins to hold their annual powwow.
Yes, and the old witch rides through the skies on her broom.
Not this year, Lena. This year she sticks.
It is my favorite time of the year. Halloween, October, autumn, fall, sunny but fresh weather. You can dress like a vampire and no one will know that this is your actual style. Classic Halloween movies. Before I start, let me say that I think Halloween and horror movies are two different things. Let's go! First movie on my list is Hocus Pocus from the year 1993. The movie plays on October 31st. The story begins with 3 witches who cast a spell to absorb a little girl's youth to make themselves look young again. 3 centuries later, a boy named Max and his sister are going trick-or-treating and they run into Max's crush, whose name is Allison. And she claims that her family owns the house of the 3 witches and they go to this house. And that's basically how the story begins. The witches appear again. The movie is all about like witches, Halloween, a zombie, a black cat. It's dark, there's a forest. And that was the most terrifying movie I watched as a kid, but a very good one. And for every fan that knows this movie, are you excited for the new movie? For the second movie that comes out in 2022? I am excited. I've been waiting for this so long. The next movie is, of course, this movie has to be on my list. It is Halloween Town. This was also one of my favorite movies growing up and it was always on Disney Channel on Halloween. I just probably have watched it a billion times by now. I think they have 4 movies, but you have to watch the first one. At least watch the first one, it is so good. Well, this movie is about the Cromwell witches, who are the most powerful witches. The story begins with an argument between Marnie and her mom. Why Marnie, her sister and her brother are not allowed to go out on Halloween like the other kids. Then their grandmother visits them on Halloween. What the kids don't know yet is that they are witches. Their grandma tells them a story about Halloween Town and Marnie and her sister are very drawn to that story and relate to it, but their mom wants them to live a normal life and is like not talking to them about this. But on the other side, the kids are very fascinated by this whole Halloween thing. So as their grandmother leaves, they see her leaving with a magical bus and they follow her and arrive in Halloween Town. I am so bad at explaining, just watch it. This movie is just all about Halloween Town and you want to live there, you know, why don't we have this outside here? I don't know. If I would be a mayor, I would decorate my city like Halloween Town. The next movie is Edward Scissorhands. This is another great movie. This movie is not Halloween themed, but it is like, you know, gets you in the mood for Halloween, which is always good. So, Edward Scissorhands starring Johnny Depp. This movie is just very sweet. On one evening, an older woman tells her grandchildren the story of a young man named Edward, who has scissors for hands. Many years later, Peg Books, I think that's her name, whatever, a woman named Peg, who is a door-to-door local saleswoman, tries to sell products. She goes from house to house and comes across a gothic mansion, which I want to live in. A big gothic mansion. The house of who? Exactly, the house of Edward Scissorhands. Like, the story is actually very sweet. There could be more romance, but again, this is a kids movie. Moving on. Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. This movie scared me so much. I don't know what it was about this movie that made me so anxious, but I just remember watching it alone and I was somehow very paranoid on that day. I don't know why. So this movie is from 1988. So the story is about a married couple who died. They find themselves back home and they cannot remember anything. Then they figure out that they are ghosts and they are trapped in their house. A new family moves in and they want to... New family plans on renovating the house, and the couple, who are ghosts now, attempt to frighten them, to scare them out of the house. And guess what? They fail, and what do? They summon Beetlejuice to help them force this new family out of their house. Interesting story, but like I said, I was just so scared watching this movie. It did not record. Next one is The Addams Family. Yes, The Addams Family. Not the TV show, but the movies. Because in this video we are talking about movies, but I would recommend the TV show as well. Do I need to say more? It's a family called The Addams Family. Oh, really? Yeah. They like spooky stuff and I relate to them. It's just... I love the movies and the TV show. I just love it. It's about an ordinary, unordinary, and not ordinary family. Well, it looks like they're celebrating Halloween every day. Gomez and Morticia Addams are just OTP. Does anybody still use this word? OTP? No? Is it not 2013 anymore? Next one is Casper, the ghost. Casper, the friendly ghost, whatever it's called. I actually have a very interesting story about this. I remember it being 2014 and me, my best friend, and two boys from our class back then, we went to the cinema and watched this movie. But to this day, I cannot find the version of this movie anymore. But it was Casper, the movie. If you Google it, there is actually no version from 2014. And that is so weird. Like, is this some kind of Mandela effect or what? I just needed to tell anyone. You should watch it. I would recommend. Next one on my list is Nightmare Before Christmas. The Nightmare, a Nightmare. Oh, it's called Nightmare Before Christmas. This movie could also be for people who are just over Halloween, who don't even like Halloween, who love Christmas. Well, A Nightmare Before Christmas is a Halloween world where monsters, different kinds of monsters are existing. The character Jack the Skeleton is secretly so over Halloween. He is bored of Halloween and I think he goes for a walk and then he enters a portal and he is so fascinated with how everything looks in this new portal that he just entered. So as he returns to Halloween Town back home, he shares what he has seen and he decides to take over Christmas. This is a bit extreme. Actually, I'm very fascinated how the movie's made. There was a documentary on Disney Plus, I think. It's just very fascinating how they made this movie happen and all the little things in the movie. You know, so much time, the fantasy, and how they brought this world to life. We have 2 movies left. Do you know which one these are? No? Me neither. This movie is from 2005 and it is Corpse Bride. Is it? This one. You just watch it and you're in a world of fantasy, which is always good. The story is about a shy groom who practices his vows in the woods alone. As he does that, he does not know that he is in the presence of a young ghost woman. She hears it and she rises from the grave and she is assuming that he has married her. What does that mean? There are 2 brides and 1 groom? Who will he choose? Again, this movie is very aesthetically pleasing. This video should be called Tim Burton Best Movies. Now we're on the last movie, which is Coraline. So, this movie is about Coraline and her family moving into a new house, and her parents are always busy working, not spending time with her. So she starts to explore the new house. And what does she find? Well, what could you find in a new house? A secret door. And this secret door leads to a different reality, a different dimension. You have to watch it to find out. And these were my movies. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like, you can click subscribe. I hope you have a lovely day, a lovely night, whenever you're watching this video. And I'll see you in my next video.